Assalamu alaikum students. In today's lecture we will study about SQL, structured query language. This is a language of database management systems. Particularly we can say that it is designed or used by relational database management systems. SQL is actually a set of commands that can be used to perform various type of operations on databases and their objects. For example, if we need to get some data from the database, so for that purpose we must use some SQL statements. And similarly, for the management of data and the databases, we also use SQL. So in this lecture we will study about SQL, and you will find a lot of things about SQL in today's lecture. These are the main objectives of today's topic. At the end of this lecture, I hope you will understand the fundamentals and the structure of SQL. Then you will know that how SQL is important and usable in RDBMS. The basic syntax of SQL will also be discussed in this lecture, and you will learn the utilization and management of relational databases through SQL. You will know that how can we utilize the RDBMS through SQL. We will discuss this thing, and also you will get the list of classifications of SQL statements or categories of SQL statements, and at the end you will also know that what is SQL statement, clauses and keywords. These are the contents for our today's topic. First, we will know the basics about SQL. Then we will check that which type of operations can be performed with the SQL. We will see the basic structure of SQL query. Then we will define statements, clauses and keywords. After that, we will also discuss the rules for typing SQL statements. There are some sort of rules which must be followed for typing SQL statements, and after that we will look into the classifications of SQL commands. We can classify SQL commands in DDL, DML, TCL, DCL and DQL. We will study all these in details. Like for data definition language, we will have some queries that would be used for definition of data in this language. Similarly, DML and TCL, DCL and DQL will have also sets of queries. First, introduction. Structured query language is a database query language used for storing and managing data in relational DBMS. Note one thing, that we must specify the type of DBMS. It must be relational if we are talking about SQL, because SQL is used only in relational databases. In other type of databases, this language is not used. So it was first commercial language introduced for EF chord relational model of database. Igor F. Chord was an English computer scientist who described relational model for database management in 1969. He proposed the structure and language for relational databases. So according to this model, we will have relations used for database storage. Here we have a storage, we have some records in a table. This table is called relation. So the product is actually relation according to this model. Then according to this model we will have some attributes. So these are the attributes in this table, or we can say these are the attributes or properties of this relation, which is. Then the third thing in this model is called tuple. Tuple, each row in a relation is called tuple. So here we have a row, this row is called tuple. Tuple can be said that it is a single record about a particular instance of a particular relation. So we are moving back to our introduction. SQL became a standard of American National Standards Institute (ANSI) in 1986, and then the standard for International Organization for Standardization (ISO) in 1987. If you look into today's relational database management system like MySQL, Oracle, Informix, Sybase, MS Access, SQL Server, there are many relational DBMS. All these DBMS are using SQL as the standard database query language. SQL is used to perform all type of data operations in our DBMS. Note one thing, in all these DBMS, the basic or the fundamental queries are similar. However, some queries are slightly different from each other. What can SQL do with databases? So first thing is that the database must be relational and it must be kept by a relational DBMS. After that, SQL can be used to perform various operations. With the help of SQL, or by using SQL, we can execute queries against any database that is stored, and by using SQL we can retrieve data, we can select data from a database, or we can get data that has been stored in a database in different tables. We can insert new records into an existing database. The records will be inserted into tables lying in the database. Then these records can be updated with the help of SQL commands. These records can be deleted by using SQL commands. We can create new databases, we can create new tables in the databases, we can create store procedures, we can create views, we can grant permissions for usage of tables, procedures and views to different users. We can revoke permissions, we can revoke privileges from users on different objects. In a relational database, we may have different objects. These objects can be tables, procedures, views. There are many other things. We will see these things in our labs. Next, we have the basic form of SQL statement. We can also call that statement as query. So we have a statement here. This statement is actually a select query. So we have some keywords in this statement, and along with these keywords we are using some attributes. The attributes are lying in the relations, and we are specifying one or more relations, and we are giving some conditions. So this is a basic form of an SQL query. We have some examples too here. Like here I am typing select. This is a keyword. Then we have two attributes, from, table name, and a condition with where. So with the help of this statement we can select some attributes from a table with a condition. We have another example. With this command we can insert data into a table having some attributes, and the values to be inserted are mentioned after values keyword. We can delete a table by using this command. So it is a simple statement. We have some keywords and then name of the table, or without any table name we can also execute a command to show all the tables stored in the database. Next we have SQL statements, clauses and keywords. Consider an SQL statement. This is a select statement or select query. We have some keywords here and some attributes, a table, and here we have another attribute. So first, keyword. Keyword is the individual tokens or elements which are predefined. Like we have select, from, order by, these are predefined and we cannot change their meaning in the SQL. These must perform their operations as they are defined for. In the given example we have select, from and order by as keyword. Next we have clauses. In this statement we have actually two parts. The first part is from select to student and the second part is from order by to student ID. So here we have two classes actually. Clause is a part of SQL statement. In the given example there are two classes. The first clause is select and the second clause is order by. Now if we combine these two clauses, then that is called statement, or we can say a complete query. It might be a single clause. A complete query may refer to a statement, or we can say that set of two or more clauses are called as a statement. The next topic in our today's lecture is about rules for typing SQL statements. So in this language actually there is no case sensitivity. We can use both cases for all the keywords. Like we have select, so we can type select in uppercase or we can type it in lowercase. In both cases we will get the results. There will be no error. So simply we can say that this language is not case sensitive. Let's check. Here we are going to check the case sensitivity for keywords in this language. So I'm using MySQL workbench, and here I will type some queries to see whether the case matters or not. So in this DBMS we have a database stored named as student. It has some tables. The first table is basic info. I will check the contents stored in this basic info. So for this purpose I must type select static from basic info. So after executing this statement we will get the list of all the tuples, the records stored in this table. So I am executing it. You can execute it by pressing Ctrl and Enter. So the query has been executed. We have the list of all the records stored in this table. So the keywords were in lowercase. Now I am replacing these keywords to uppercase. Select, and here we have from. So now the keywords are in uppercase. Execute it again, Control Enter. It's working. We got the result again. So it means that there is no case sensitivity in this language. In this language, the end of statement is specified by semicolon, so we say that we can type a single statement in multiple lines. That will put no effect if you type a statement in a single line or in a multiple line. The result will be same for both cases. So however, it is suggested to type the statements in multiple lines for better readability. Now if we go back to my SQL, this statement is in a single line. I can type it in multiple lines like this. It will also work. Control enter, it's working. Now for better readability, I must type it as order by, let's say, name. So we have a name attribute in this table, so we are ordering all these records according to this name. I can type this query in a single line or in multiple lines. In both cases the result will be same, because we are actually terminating this statement by using semicolon. So if we execute it, it will work in this way. Also in a single line it will work. Even if I type two statements in a single line, that will also work, because the statements are terminated by semicolon, so it will put no effect if you type multiple statements in a single line. Now here I am typing, let's say, select static from another table, contact info, and I'm executing this statement. So control enter, it's working. I got the result for this statement. Now if I move my cursor to this statement and press control enter, I will get the result for this statement. So we can type multiple statements in a single line, and we can type a single statement in multiple lines. In both cases the result will be the same. However, for better readability, it is preferred to use multiple lines. For better readability, it is preferred to use uppercase for keywords and lowercase for other words. Like we did in our statement, we used uppercase for select, from, and order by, and lowercase for the table name and attribute name. We have already practiced this thing. The cases, all these cases will give us same results. For strings or for characters, we must use single quote, and inside the quotes the case is considered. Like here A is in uppercase and this one is in lowercase, so both are different. Next, about constants or values. So we must use single quote, and using these double quotes is not correct. So always use single quote for values, particularly for string values. Then for character or string, single quote must be used. We must use single quote. And for objects, we must use grave accent. You can get this key on the left side of 1 in the keyboard.